they got a video that they doing push-ups. That's, ooh, I don't know. If they go to the military, what happens how long before they come into the police force? And when someone want to stop and frisk you, it's not a person, it's a robot. Well, that's already happening in some lanes. Now they have these robot dogs that they've produced. They look like the ones from Terminator, that they're selling and actively using to privately patrol different areas in different companies. So like Chevron has a deal with them where in their oil factories and rigs, they have like the robot dogs walking around patrolling. NYPD wants to pick them up and make them patrol the subways to catch jumpers. Who here want to get chased by a robot dog? I don't, I know that for sure, right? And so again, we're gonna start seeing, and these are not theoretical things. These are things that are already being put in use right now, right? So those robot dogs, I've seen videos where they attach flamethrowers to the back of them. They got them so that they can attach guns to the back of them. That stuff gets scary. So again, it's gonna go from being behind the scenes to in your face. The robots aren't coming, they're already here.
Yeah, so I've been thinking a lot, and colleagues thinking a lot about robots that can do useful work. All right, and so I think what we're seeing now is a trend where advancements in AI and also advancements in hardware are revolutionizing and greatly expanding the kinds of useful work we'll see going from specialized robots to more general purpose robotic systems. In machine learning, when I started machine learning 20 years ago, you made a model that did one thing. It was an object recognition, so in some cases human-like dexterity, to be able to do those really fine-grained assembly tasks, like put my Lego set together. Now you can think about that applied in a factory, right? With some of the roles that humans currently perform in factories because they require reasoning, because they require dexterity. We are in a moment in time where there's labor shortages. Right, if you look at the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics and you look at the kinds of manufacturing jobs that people do in factories today, there aren't enough people to fill those jobs. And so that's why you're seeing a lot of investment in this idea of general purpose robots in the near term applied to some of those domains, and perhaps in the medium and longer term, many others.
Okay, so I know that everybody's keeping up. We talked about AI. We talked about agents that are able to act on their own and accomplish tasks. We talked about AI that's able to see and hear. We're talking about this AI being the brain, so to speak, of several different robotic systems that are doing different tasks, right? All right. Everybody keeping up? I know it. That's right. So I want to go to one more place and just talk about the research that's happening, because you all are both doing incredible research. Dr. Ashley, I'll start with you. AI is going to be able to be used to really take us to a new place when it comes to scientific discovery. Can you talk about some of the work that you're doing at Microsoft Research and the way that you see it and what might be possible?
Yeah, that is really when we talk about the killer apps. The most powerful applications of artificial intelligence to me, revolutionizing and accelerating scientific discovery is that killer app for artificial intelligence. And I talked about that global gross domestic product, that exponential we've been riding for human civilization for these last few hundred years. And I talked about all those technological advancements. All those are predicated on better scientific understanding of the world and how it works. And that understanding the structure of that drug. And the other is the protein target on the bacteria that the drug actually targets. You can present both of those to the model, and the model can output new candidate drugs. All right? And through that process, so actually together with a collaborator, the Global Health and Drug Discovery Institute, they actually did that process, created candidates. Our partners actually synthesized some of them, and it turns out one is over 100 times better at binding to the TB bacteria than the original drug.
It's incredible.
All right, and so through a process like that, there's a long way to go until that candidate, could be considered for clinical trials. But what it does is it takes that process of drug discovery and greatly accelerates it from something that can take years to something that can take months. And that's just that one example. Now imagine that applied to new materials, sustainable new materials that are capable of sequestering carbon from the air, or any myriad of material discovery or drug discovery applications. So hopefully that gives you at least a sense of why I'm so excited for the possibilities of AI in the space of scientific discovery.
Talking about robots serving in roles, really smart AI that can move on its own. What are your thoughts on the potential impact on the workforce? Many people are concerned about the outlook on their jobs. I have an 8-year-old daughter, and I wonder what are the things that she should be learning right now so that she can have work to do in the future. Can you tell us some of your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I said the robots aren't coming, they're already here, which is true, and they are absolutely coming for black jobs first. In 2019, McKinsey did a study and found that of the top 5 fields that are going to be impacted by artificial intelligence, job fields, that 4 of them are overrepresented by black folks. So that's your food service, your office support, your production work, your mechanical installation and repairs. And we're overrepresented in those 4 fields of the top 5 that AI is going to come for their jobs. And that's 2019. So in 2022, McKinsey does another study, and they show that 25% of black people hold a job right now, today, in 2022, that is 75% or more likely to be replaced by AI within the next 5 years. And then when you add that to the fact that more than 75% of black Americans do not have a college degree, right? We have a very bleak future. They're coming for our jobs, and they're coming for our jobs quickly. And if history has taught us anything, the government isn't gonna catch us until we've already fallen flat on our face and been flopping around for a while. So we can't expect workforce development programs to come out and say, oh look, all the black folks are being unemployed. Let's create a program to reskill them and have them do something else. Think they're gonna rush and do that for us immediately? Probably not. Not until it starts to affect the white community a little bit more, right? Let's be real. And so that's the real reality that we're in right now. We are in the fields that AI is coming for. We don't necessarily collectively have the education and resources to quickly pivot into something else. So at the same time AI is coming for our jobs, there's also a massive opportunity on the table. By 2045, artificial intelligence is going to bring $500 billion of new wealth into households in the US. By 2045, AI is going to bring $500 billion of new wealth into households in the United States. The question is, whose houses is it going to? Is it gonna go into Elon Musk's house, into a Mark Zuckerberg house, or is it gonna go into your lineage's houses? Is it gonna go into our lineage's houses where we only have, I think, 18 black billionaires, right, total? And Van Jones was talking about this yesterday behind the scenes. He was like, they're missing some zeros. Like, our biggest black billionaire is only worth $6 billion. You should be worth 60. That money's coming, right? So as we know that we open our eyes, we know this wave is coming and it's coming for us. I'm not saying this to scare you, I'm saying it to be real. If you know an earthquake's coming, you're gonna drop, stop, drop, roll, get under the bed, whatever it is. You know a hurricane coming, you're gonna get out the city, get out the way. We know that this AI job hurricane is coming, and it's coming for us. So let's not be naive about it, but at the same time, it's a lot of money, it's a big bag we can go grab off of AI. If we make sure our communities are prepared to go get it.
I have an aging mother, she's blind, and she's needed more help recently. And it can be a really complex thing to try to navigate government benefits. And so I actually found, that AI is pretty good at that. I put in, hey, here's the situation, what is the eligibility? And they come back with all these. And this was a real revelation, because the websites that the AI had pulled up and analyzed to give me that information led to all the organizations that I had already spent hours on the phone with. It almost brought a tear to my eye, because it was like 2 seconds to pull that answer out.
Something that my grandma, God rest her soul, used to say to me. She said, baby, if you can see a problem, it's because you have a part of the solution. And when I got older, I put the whole world on my shoulders, tried to fix everything. She said, girl, I said you had a part of the solution, not the whole thing. And so the first thing I can say is in order to prepare for this future, yesterday I said capitalism is a gladiator sport, but it's a team gladiator sport. We cannot do this alone. The future that we want to see, yes, it is about your individual lineage. Yes, it is about your generational wealth and your personal circumstances and for those that you love, but it's also about all of us. And the only way all of us are gonna win is if we actually start working together. So the first thing I'll say is while you're here at InvestFest, don't just come up and meet the speakers. Like, yes, I'll take pictures with you. Meet the people to your left and right and figure out how you can collaborate. When we look at big tech, there's something called the PayPal Mafia. And PayPal Mafia was Elon Musk created a payments company and he sold it to a guy named Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel turned that into a company called PayPal. Then PayPal went public. When PayPal went public, a whole bunch of people made a lot of money off of that, right? So what happened? Elon Musk turned around and he buys into Tesla and, you know, gets the people who created it, there's who made it and who he kicked out, that ain't my business. Then he turns around and does the same thing at SpaceX. Then Peter Thiel turns around and becomes the first investor in Facebook. So if we're just looking at those two guys already, what do we have? We have PayPal, which we all use. You have Facebook, you have SpaceX and Tesla. Well, the gag is, that ain't all that came from the PayPal Mafia. Even outside of that, you had one of the executives, early executives of PayPal, turned around and created a company you may or may not have heard of called YouTube. Then another guy who was one of the executives there created a company called Stripe. And then there was a guy who was there who ended up going to work, I can't remember if it was Stripe or YouTube, but his name was Reid Hoffman, and he goes to help build them scale. Then he turns around and says, oh, I got an idea for a company, I'm gonna call it LinkedIn. He turned around and sold LinkedIn for $26 billion to Bill Gates and Microsoft. So now you have this same group of people. All they're doing is keep tag teaming each other, tapping each other in. Right? And the gag is when you're a US company at that scale, you gotta have, you know, the government in your pocket in one way or another so your company don't get busted up. So they have Elon Musk and Peter Thiel who are right wings, who are Republicans. Then you have Reid Hoffman and arguably Bill Gates who's affiliated, who are very big Democrats. Well, we already know they're gonna do business together. So it don't matter who in office, the PayPal Mafia gonna win. Right? And so the first thing we need to do as we're moving into this future is to definitely think about ourselves individually, but to move collectively. We don't need a PayPal Mafia, we need a purpose mafia. So you gotta learn how you learn so you can teach yourself anything. If you guys have heard that a prompt engineer is gonna be a career of the future, that's already old news. They got AI that does prompt engineering. So in the future, it's not gonna be about what tangible skills you have always, those will be useful. It's gonna be about how quickly you're gonna be able to learn the next new thing. How quickly you're gonna be able to pick up the next new tech and move forward. And so if you learn how you learn, you can teach yourself anything. So it doesn't matter what curveballs they throw at us collectively, we always gonna be on point, always be one step forward. So those are the things I recommend. I'm excited to see the future that we all shape together.